Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be talking about the new gate. There's another gate. It's about Marlon and Rosie and basically how there's an issue with the item that's needed to upgrade Marlon and Rosie from the event. If you go to missions and you go to the event tab, you can see in the possible rewards for the missions down the bottom that you start getting these leashes. After you get Marlon and Rosie, you get some for 30k, 40k, 50k, up to 100k, and these are needed to upgrade Marlon and Rosie instead of gear. It's unsure whether these will be made available after the event has finished as well, so you may only be able to get these during the event, so you could potentially have like a tier 2 Marlon and Rosie just rolling around forever, unfortunately, but there's no information there. There's no information on how easy it's going to be to come by these dog paw pins, whether it's worth buying the things that are in the offer section. That is something completely different, but there's not too much communication when it comes to the event itself. But there is obviously an error with these leashes because someone has got Marlon and Rosie already, and instantly it was found out that it wasn't actually leashes that were needed to upgrade Marlon and Rosie, it was Marlon's bandanas. So what Scopely did was they created something in the museum. If you go to the museum, you might have spotted it yourself, and it's called the dog leash hand in. You hand in one dog leash and you get one bandana back. So it's basically pretty simple. You hand in the dog leash that you would get from the mission and you get the bandana that is actually required for the upgrade. Now, what has happened, however, which is a big issue, is this dog leash is actually an old item. Now, on my region here, I didn't have any because it was from an event over a year ago. And I hopefully got some footage running right now. The event, can't really remember what it was. It was basically like an aquamarine necklace event, basically like a woodchip event, you know, where we got like one of the characters. This one didn't have a character, it was just pure gear. It was a museum gear event, and you know, we missed those. But also, they gave out these items as the collection items, and then some people were running around with, you know, 100, some people were running around with 500. I think I had like 1700 on my other region. This happened during my live stream, so I was just claiming them on my live stream, just like, great. Now, within, I don't know, 10 minutes of that being an issue, Scopely has changed the requirement on Marlon and Rosie from the bandanas to the rotten heads. Obviously, the whole rotten heads are what you get from the war crates, and we're not sure because there's been zero communication on the issue so far, whether this is going to be a permanent change or whether it's going to be changed again. My thing here is, if it could be changed to whole rotten heads on Marlon and Rosie, why wasn't it just changed to the leashes? I don't understand why that didn't happen, so that's a bit weird. Obviously, a big issue here as well is the fact that there are going to be some people potentially who have got Marlon and Rosie up to max tier. You would have had to really speed run his level up, but some people could have tried to take advantage. Are those characters going to be reverted? Obviously, everyone's lost out on things they've gained. People have lost out on things they've gained with paying money as well. This is the biggest issue for me. Imagine you're someone who went into the offer section and you're a big spender, and you saw some of these offers are good. They're actually not selling them anymore. I'm not sure if they've stopped selling them on purpose or it's just the offers aren't up right now. But basically they were having these offers. I'll show some screenshots from my live stream where you could buy 25,000 of the dog paw pins, and those collection items were used for the missions. So theoretically you could have been up to, you know, around about 50k, 60k from buying the offers. Probably you could probably be up to 70k by this point. And it would have cost you a couple of $100 maybe, but some people have got money to spend and they like spending it on the game, that's fine. But they now won't get what they've paid for, which is the dog leashes, which should change into the banners, and the bandanas should be used on the character to be able to rank them up. So there are some people going to be sitting there, having paid that money, not going to be able to get what they want, which is, we just need some communication here. This is the biggest issue again, it's the communication. I know we're dealing with the situation right now where we haven't got a community manager. That is obviously going to be very harsh on the rest of the Scopely team in terms of someone's going to be having to pick up that slack, and that isn't a small role, guys. That is a massive role. That's actually like someone's job. Like, it isn't something they do on the side. It is a full-time job. And if other people have got full-time employment and you know what it's like, having to pick up someone else's job is going to be very difficult. But some level of communication is needed here, especially when it comes to parts of an event where it's premium. That's the biggest issue for me, is that part of this event is premium. There's no communication with regards to how they're going to fix this, what's going to actually be done here. I'm not going to try and tell you what I think should be done. It's going to be very difficult because they've got leashes in their missions here and they're reusing an older item, but this isn't something that's new. That they've done this by mistake a couple of times. They're not testing out the item that they're using as the mission collectible, which should be just part of testing phase. You know, just check people who have been quite active in the game and check if they've got that item in their inventory. It shouldn't be too hard to just narrow down, or you should probably just create a brand new item every time. That way you've got no issues. So yeah, an obvious issue with the event, an obvious issue with being able to get Marlon and Rosie maxed out, and I would say you probably need to get him maxed out. Any S-Class you kind of need to get maxed out to get the best out of them, especially in the future when everyone's got S-Class characters everywhere. A non-maxed out S-Class character is going to be really obvious, and it's going to be basically running like a 4-star in the 5-star era. It's going to be quite obvious, the stat differential, and you're going to be relying purely on that character's build. And Marlon and Rosie hasn't got the strongest build. He has got potential to have very niche usage, but he needs to be maxed out in my opinion. Both him and his doggo. And communication hopefully will improve once we do have a community manager, which I'm hoping is going to be very soon. I'm going to guess that if there is an induction period, they probably would wait until after War of Champions, just because you don't want to throw someone in at the deep end, and War of Champions is going to be pretty hectic for sure. But that is the end of my video, guys. Do tell me if you are affected by this. Have you bought any offers and now are just sitting there effectively with nothing for the money you've spent? Have you contacted support? What have they said to you? Were you lucky enough that you could just actually tear up your Marlon and Rosie a couple of times for effectively free because you had a bunch of those leashes already? Do let me know your feelings on the current new gate, which I'm going to call Leashgate just because it is Unleashed event. I would have wanted to call it Rosie Gate because Rosie would wear the leashes, but I'm going to go Leashgate. It's the way it goes. That is the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.